Welcome to this Times Techies webinar. I'm Sujit John, and I have with me my colleague Akhil George. The two of us will moderate this discussion that we are having in partnership with Cognizant. AI, of course, is what everybody is talking about today. It's widely acknowledged that AI will be transformative for the world. It's also widely acknowledged that India will play a significant role in AI, given the quantity and quality of technology talent we have in the country. But as of now, a lot of this tech talent is not entirely ready for the AI world that's emerging. How do we upskill our talent for an AI first world? What kind of opportunities exist for AI talent? How can MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, use and develop AI talent? How can India be a leading force in this AI first world? Those are the questions we will discuss today. And for that, we have with us three of India's leading IT and tech professionals. We have Maulik Bhansali. Maulik is co-founder and CEO of NetWeb Software. NetWeb Software provides innovative software solutions and services to businesses globally. Maulik is vice chair for nasscom's National SME, Small and Medium Enterprise Council, and is also a member of nasscom's Executive Council. Maulik is a founding member of TAI, the Indus Entrepreneurs Vadodara, and is currently president of TAI Vadodara. He is the past chairman and director of the Gujarat Electronics and Software Industries Association, and he's on the board of management of several universities. Welcome, Maulik.
Thank you. Pleasure being here. Thank you.
We also have Sangeeta Gupta. We have had the pleasure of having Sangeeta on this forum several times. Sangeeta is the Senior Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer of nasscom. She has been with nasscom for over 3 decades, since the time the body was formed way back in 1988. She manages numerous major programs in nasscom that focus on industry research, outreach, events, communications, and nasscom strategic goals. She's a strong supporter of new technologies, innovation, and skill development in order to boost the country's digital future. Welcome, Sangeeta.
Thank you so much, Akhil.
And we have Rajesh Varrier. Rajesh is EVP and Global Head of Operations at Cognizant, and he's also the Chairman and Managing Director at Cognizant India. In these roles, Rajesh oversees global operations, delivery excellence, and workforce planning and sourcing. He oversees the India Leadership Council and the company's expansion across India. Rajesh has over 30 years of experience in the technology industry. He's also a member of the nasscom Executive Council. Welcome, Rajesh.
Thank you, Akhil. Glad to be here. Hi, Sujit.
Hi, thank you.
So let's start with looking at AI adoption trends and talent requirements. This one's open to Sangeeta, Rajesh. Maybe Sangeeta, you can start. What trends are we seeing in the way enterprises are integrating AI into their business operations?
So I think this continues. The topic of the webinar is really about AI first world. And I think every conversation since the ChatGPT moment of November 2022 continues to be about AI. But I think the difference we are seeing now in the last 12 months potentially is that as you think about enterprise AI adoption, it's not just about saying what all you can do with AI. Yes, that is obviously there, the art of the possible with AI, but more about what is the business value that I can drive with AI. So obviously AI implementation and support functions, whether it's customer service, supply chain management, procurement, but also what is the AI use cases in my core business processes, right? So if I'm a healthcare company, can I do drug discovery with AI? If I'm a bank, can I implement fraud management with AI? So I think there's a very diverse set of AI use cases that we are now seeing across enterprises. Having said that, I think enterprises are also in two parts. There are the very forward-looking enterprises that are doing a lot more with AI, and there is a second lot which is still at the POC experimentation stage and are seeing what does it mean for me from a business perspective. So yes, I think everyone recognizes that the AI opportunity is something that they cannot miss out. But I think you will see different organizations at different paces of maturity from an enterprise AI perspective.
You're saying everybody's convinced that AI will play a role in their companies, is it?
I think everybody is convinced it will play a role. What kind of time frame, Sujit? What does it mean for my specific business? And, obviously the entire legal regulatory perspectives and many other concerns that people may have. I think the pace of adoption, and it's somewhat similar to what we saw in the digital phase, is going to be different so enterprise is not one whole, is what I'm trying to say.
And do you think our rate of adoption is similar to what's happening in the rest of the world? Or better or slower?
I think it's varied. In India also, you have the more progressive enterprises that are potentially at par with global enterprises. But India does have a large pool of SMB companies, right, which are still even early stages of the digital adoption. So AI is will come on top of that. So I would say, yes, India is doing relatively okay in some sectors, but we do need to accelerate the pace in many other sectors.
Rajesh?
Yeah, no, I completely in sync with what Sangeeta has said. From the time AI burst into our lives 2 years ago, the whole world has been running around trying to figure out what to do with this innovation. I can't think of a company which is not looking at it really, Sujit. I mean, every board is asking the question, how are we using AI to improve either productivity, gain some efficiencies, or even use AI in innovation to be able to progress the cause of the organization, right? So it's kind of we are living in the AI era now, and that's the reality, right? And if you take even organizations like Cognizant, for example, we have been in the forefront of AI from right from the beginning, both from a training and adoption standpoint. We ourselves, our CEO Ravi Kumar talked about how Cognizant itself uses AI generated code. We have about 2 million lines of AI generated code, which we have, adopted in the business that we are delivering to our customers. So, the impact is all around, and it's really profound.
Yeah, we've been hearing more and more about agentic AI and all that. What you said about call centers and all that, I think if it's in there, a lot of the work can probably be done by all of this. AI agents in some ways.
That's right.
Maulik, you also serve the world. I mean, businesses globally. What everybody's asking for AI solutions, is it?
Of course, there is huge curiosity out there, but more than just curiosity is now businesses are wanting to think what can be done with it, right? So more than just looking at proof of concepts, our customers, for example, and friends that I know in the industry around globally are looking for proof of values more than just proof of concept. So how do you kind of really derive real value out of AI implementations is what is being very actively and very, very, very keenly being looked at. In addition to that, I mean, there are of course challenges out there. And challenges in terms of what really you are going to get out of it after all this exercise. So that's one thing. It's about how do you get started? Where do you get started? Should you get started? Of course, yes. So most of our businesses and the customers that we deal with, they are absolutely convinced that they need to get started. It's about where and how they should get started. Thinking about proof of value in what you get started with. So it comes usually with the efficiency, productivity gains, and then of course, huge in terms of the experience. So for example, customer experience and so on. So these are three areas which customers, as we know, and businesses that we talk, usually most of them are really keen to understand how they can possibly gain efficiency, more productivity, and better experience for the customers at the end.
Do you have a sense about MSMEs in India? What are they also thinking along these lines?
Yes, they are. Of course, most of tech, small, medium businesses are thinking about this. The need, of course, is to see and figure out where and how to get started, right? But yes, you are right. Most are thinking about this. Yes.
Are solutions affordable enough for these kind of companies?
So more than the solutions, I believe need is to look at how do you kind of build that capability to be able to deliver and to be able to serve, right? Several solutions available today, but how do you really leverage those? How do you really get started is where the real challenge is. I would rather say real need is to figure out how do you get started and in which form. Small, medium tech businesses, of course, they are pretty agile in nature. However, at the same time, there are resources which they have to be careful with in terms of what resources they have and how to get started. So there are different models that business are looking at in terms of co-creation rather than just taking jump yourself. How do you possibly spread the risk at the same time, make sure that you are co-creating in a way whereby you are onboarding a domain experts as well along with your technology expertise, and then you are able to solve the real problem at hand. So that's how most tech SMEs, small medium businesses are looking at and are looking at more possibilities of collaborating and going together.
Okay, co-creating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can look at how these AI skills have evolved in recent years across these various industries. And has it changed ever since Gen AI came into the picture? Wants to go for Rajesh.
Sure, Akhil. I think it's a given that, because there is this surge in demand for AI's, use cases, implementing use cases. John, Sujit, whether it is, small and medium enterprises or whether it is large companies, everybody is looking at experimenting and trying to figure out how we can best utilize it to get a competitive advantage, to bring some innovative stuff, etc., in the market. So there is a surge in demand for AI skills. We in Cognizant, we actually commissioned a study a little while back where we were trying to understand the economic impact of AI on the jobs. And the study basically found 90% of the jobs will be impacted by AI one way or the other. The interesting thing, Akhil, is that until now, we have seen technology or automation in some sense impacting the manual work that was traditionally being done in automation of manual. We are actually entering an era where technology is going to impact knowledge workers who are already working in the digital space, right? And in two ways. One, of course, is not the great thing because they're going to remove some of the knowledge workers with agentification, which Sujit just mentioned a little while back. And the second is, of course, the good thing, which is enabling them to do their jobs better and get more productive, and also reducing their time to actually become productive at a particular job, right? So it's actually helping and enhancing their ability to deliver. So that's what we're seeing.
Sangeeta?
Yeah. So, no, I think, as Rajesh said, right, I think AI skills is becoming horizontal today. In the past, technology skills was for the technology professionals. I am a Java developer, I'm a .NET professional. Today, I think the knowledge of AI skills is across the pyramid. In fact, I was reading a data point saying that AI skills have almost grown 3x faster than AI job roles. So AI job roles are still limited, but the demand for AI skills is actually 3x of that. So that's, I think, one kind of differentiation that we need to bring into this discussion, that almost everybody needs to understand and work with AI. So at NASScom, we've actually created a five-step framework on, what are these AI skills? So obviously at the top of the pyramid is the AI expert. This is your PhD data science experts who will be involved in building out these models or, really working with these models. Then, of course, the whole AI architects who are going to integrate customer solutions with AI expertise. I think the next layer is really the AI integrators, right? Who are saying, okay, here is I'm a person working in the call center industry, but how do I leverage these models for the work that I will do? And of course, after that, the AI enthusiasts and the AI literate, right? In which AI literate is for, just like we had digital literacy as a campaign, we need AI literacy as a campaign in this country because you will have issues of deep fake and others. And it's important that, every citizen can identify what is AI generated and what is not. It's going to get increasingly difficult, but I think that is what is needed. I think from a technology industry perspective, there's been a lot of focus on building out skills across the pyramid, and I know we'll cover that as we move along. But clearly, I think given the size of our population and our young demographics, if you're going to have a billion plus working age people by 2030, we need to make sure we have the AI skills adapted to them as we move along.
Okay. Of those skills that you mentioned. Okay, we'll come to that later. But Maulik, about AI skills demand, what are the sense you get?
So, It's interesting. We're talking about AI first applications or AI first businesses. However, in my honest opinion, we should also look at AI infused applications where one can leverage already existing assets. And how do you kind of leverage that? How do you augment that with AI? Because a lot of investments would have already gone into building these assets, solutions, and so on. And there is huge need out there into augmenting this with AI as well. So while we talk about AI capabilities, and I think we should look at from this both the perspective. And oftentimes we kind of think about algorithms developments, developing business and data models and data science and so on. However, there is a huge need out there in other specific areas as well, where how you possibly create and prepare your data. How do you kind of manage your data? How do you, clean your data? How do you make your data more relevant to what is really required? So data management, for example, data cleaning, your data visualization, presentation of data is a huge need out there. So that's one very hot need. And then, of course, things like your AI and machine learning ops. So AI and ML ops, just as we have DevOps. I think AI and ML ops is a huge need out there. And there is a
What is that, by the way? What is AI ML ops?
So the operational and deployment needs, as specifically as we saw during the times of cloud adoptions, around when we kind of adopted cloud technologies, for example. So foundation skills for DevOps is where you development deployment of the applications. It fairly overlaps with the newer machine learning and AI applications and deployment as well. So you have your automation principles, you have continuous integration and continuous deployment models that you have, which usually is dealt with DevOps when you deal with cloud technologies. Similar, you can build further on top of that for machine learning and AI algorithms and AI models to be deployed. And there is a specific roadmap that one can really take to kind of get trained into AI ops and ML ops from DevOps, which you were possibly earlier were dealt with more about deployment of your applications or automating the software deployment, and monitoring of that. So MLOps actually extends DevOps to include lifecycle for ML models and data preparation, model training, deployment, monitoring, and retraining. Similarly, your AIOps is looking at your incident detections, some prediction of anomalies, for example, and root cause analysis. Now, these are things which possibly you can get started with, to get early break, possibly with AI and machine learning requirements these days.
Okay, so it's not just pure AI skills. The whole AI thing requires you to start from the data side and all the way to, of course, cloud and all of that is equally important in this whole environment.
That's
okay,
correct.
Rajesh, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I was just adding, Sujit, that that's something we're hearing across the industry, that the whole data opportunity, data engineering, data modernization, or data management, whatever you call it. I think that is the big opportunity that companies are seeing right now as enterprises are preparing themselves for AI. Many of them are not AI ready right now.
That's
I think
correct.
The second point to what Maulik has just said is, while there are AI alone solutions, but AI is also foundational technology. So AI and cybersecurity, AI and cloud, so AI is also going to be cross-intersecting with all of these newer technology areas and existing areas. So I think when you think about AI skills, you have to think of it at a much, much broader level. Sorry, Rajesh.
No, Sangeeta, that's absolutely fine.
Sangeeta, do you have a sense of where would be, of all these segments that you mentioned, where would be the biggest opportunities?
So I think given how predominant cloud has been over the last few years, Sujit, I would say, I think that is one place where you will see a lot of intersection points. I think data engineering, everything related to data, right from data annotation to the higher end of data architecture. I think that's, again, a very, very big opportunity. As of today, it will change 2 years from now, but I think that is where we are seeing the most traction.
Okay. Rajesh, go ahead.
What about coders?
Sorry.
Yeah, Akhil, I'll just add to what Sangeeta said, and I'm completely in sync. I think all of us who have been in the business know that at the end of the day, data is the oil of the business, right? You have to obviously have a strong foundation from a data standpoint to do anything from insights to reports to even driving your AI engine. For simplistically, if you think about it, if you're running AI on content, like today when you have ChatGPT is running on content. That content is coming off a data set. If that data set is really not great, then the AI that runs on top of it is not going to do anything magical to change that. You're going to have the same not so great outcomes that will come out of that. So fundamentally, the requirement to make sure that your organization is AI ready will start with ensuring that you have the right data in the right place to be able to think of an AI strategy. So yeah, just agreeing with what Sangeeta was saying. Sorry, Akhil, you were just asking something.
And if I may add one thing, friends, is that we talked about AI first applications and then AI infused or augmenting with AI, right? Now both requires a different level of skill sets and capabilities. So, for example, your AI first application you would have an objective of building products which are entirely relying on AI or just completely built around AI. Whereas you would have enhancing your otherwise your traditional systems with AI features. Now, one would requiring your custom model design and training, for example, whereas your augmenting would require focusing on integrating pre-trained models and APIs, for example, right? So that is where the core needs are as well. So not necessarily only to focus on how to build really data models, but how do you even integrate it and how do you identify the best models for yourself and for your domain? That's a big need. And that also brings in the need of things like your prompt engineering and building a prompt layer on top of your existing models and so on. Now, this is where the opportunities are there as well. So optimization, enhancing of existing tools or systems, focusing on cloud services, your lightweight solutions, dealing with your predictive analytics, and some sort of initial how you can build and bring value on top of existing and augmenting your applications is a big need. And I think nothing wrong in starting there. And I think it's a great opportunity out there as well.
How should coders think about this? There's always a debate, right? Whether these systems will get so smart that they can do all the coding for you. So how should aspiring computer science students be thinking about this? Sangeeta?
So I would start with saying that I think it's good for them to think of it as a tool for augmentation. Yes, it can generate some of the standard code, but if you take that code as gospel and believe that that's what is right, that's not, you will end up with some hallucinations and some other unintended consequences, right? So I think leveraging these tools for enhancing your productivity, as Rajesh said, is the way to go forward. But it can't, I think the hypothesis that it will just take away all of the coder's job is unintended at this moment. It may impact your productivity and it varies. I mean, we've been talking to multiple companies and saying, give us statistics of, how much productivity improvements are you seeing? And I've heard all the facts from 5% improvement to 30% improvement, right? And for 5%, some teams say we've been doing this all our time, right? Every software company provides a 5-7% productivity on an incremental basis. So what's so new? But there's some companies who said in certain use cases, we've been able to see 25-30%. Yeah. But I think those 25-30% use cases also have to be prepared so well that then you are ready to see that productivity. So it's again going to be a journey. Yeah. It is not an immediate plug and play tool for every kind of software application that we are building, particularly the technology industry, which does so much custom application, right? You can't just plug and play this into everything.
Yeah.
Rajesh?
Yeah.
No, so I largely agree with what Sangeeta said here. It's a productivity tool today. So ability to get developers to build and deploy something faster than they have done in the past. I'll tell you something interesting. In my interactions with the developer community, I have found that the developers who are just coming off the ranks, which is just joining the ranks of the development community, actually find it a lot more easier to adopt AI tools to do their work. But senior developers who have been in the business for a long time, they don't find it that much easy because they trust their own coding and their own instincts of coding. They'd rather just go and hack away at the keyboard and do stuff than take something from an AI tool and interpret it, and like Sangeeta said, try to make sure that it's all working right before they embedded it into their software, right? So their tendency is to rely on their own coding skills, but the upcoming youngsters are starting off with this, so they are like so used to it now. They just go and use the AI tools, generate the code, makes their life easier. They're able to shorten the time to delivery. So it's a great productivity enhancement tool. But Akhil, to your point, right, there are so many different technologies which is evolving, and everybody has some AI support that is available to be able to be more productive. So I think that's just going to get stronger, but it's also going to enhance our ability to address more complex business situations. So that's the way I look at it.
From a developer's or software engineer's point of view, yeah, there is no doubt that this can possibly help them to be more productive. And however, one has to be careful that whatever code that you're getting out of it as generated code, right? Is it really efficient enough? So there is a huge, I think going forward, we'll see the need as the software developers possibly have to have a capability of identifying and writing efficient code out of what you're getting out of it, right? So thinking about efficient code, thinking about refactoring, how do you make it more efficient, right? Thinking about how do you bring the domain knowledge to what you're writing is even more important, because the context within that code is generated may not be appropriate, may not be right. And are you really having that understanding of under which context and application that's going to be applied? And is it relevant? So there is this need that in addition to, you may have a capability of how do you kind of use one of your co-pilots to assist you to write something, or any code generator that you may use in future. But then what you get out of it, are you able to effectively use it? Is it efficient enough? Is it productive enough? Is it solving the real business challenge and real business issue? And then focusing on the testing part of it, focusing on the integration part of it with the other systems around, with other code around, is absolutely important. So those are the items, in my honest opinion, possibly will get more relevance going forward as and when more adoption of code generation does happen.
I had a question. I mean, Maulik bhai touched upon prompt engineering, but it was just a touch, and none of the others mentioned it. I mean, till a few months ago, there was this big talk of prompt engineering. What? Somewhere down the line, that's become a little less important or something, or what? Sangeeta, Rajesh, I don't know. I don't hear the word anymore as much as I used to.
Yeah, I think, I wouldn't call it prompt engineering, but I think it's a skill that, again, every professional will need, whether you call it prompt engineering. I was hearing another podcast. They said, it can be an interrogation skill. It's just how do you interrogate the AI to give you better answers, right? So I think it's about working with technology to get the output that you want. That will require it to train what you're looking for, as well as find the answers. But I think the number of job roles that may be in prompt engineering may be rather limited. It's not that everybody's looking to hire prompt engineers. I think every professional will need to learn the skill in their specific roles.
Okay. That also brings, for non-STEM folks, what are the opportunities here? Are there lots of opportunities? Are there specific areas where they could be more important?
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I think there used to be an era where software development was the forte of STEM graduates and considered to be a profession for engineering graduates as well, right? But I think that era is long gone, right? Today, we need people who have deep domain capability, understand the domain, in depth. We need people who know what are the right questions to ask to discover the problem that you're trying to solve, right? So problem finding is important. Asking right questions is important. Design thinking is important. If you take the entire spectrum from experience design, which is relevant for applications, to solving complex problems, we need a mix of all kinds of skills today. We need the STEM as well as the non-STEM skills. So yeah, so that's what I think. Sangeeta, sorry, you were saying something and I jumped in.
No. I was just adding to it. I think, Sujit, I would take it two ways, right? One is if I am, say, I'm a lawyer as a paralegal in a legal firm, right? Leveraging AI, I will become so much more better. Or if I'm a healthcare professional, I think knowledge and working with these AI tools, the productivity that it will provide me in any profession is going to be so much higher. So I think so knowledge and usage of AI and ability to use AI is actually much more horizontal, whether you're STEM or non-STEM. I think for the STEM or the typical tech industry workforce, I think even pre-Gen AI world, more and more companies that were focused on building AI had recognized the importance of bias, having this broader view of diversity. So you were seeing teams that would include liberal arts, would include people from psychology, coming together to create technology that would determine for whatever else that you wanted to do. So clearly, I think opportunity for non-STEM graduates is actually a much more level playing field. If you believe all those quotes on the new programming language is English, then I think a lot of people know that, right? So.
No, absolutely. The non-STEM crucial to developing AI solutions and experiences. Absolutely. Akhil?
Sangeeta, what proactive steps can IT industry take to make upskilling a top priority in this fast evolving landscape?
Yeah. So I think the IT industry is already very focused on, infusing or educating or upskilling their employees with AI. So I think we keep tracking this data on a quarterly basis. We already see, just for companies who report, almost 1 million plus employees have already, got some form of AI training, because they all recognize that it's a horizontal, and employees at all levels, whether they're working on an AI project or not, will need to know AI. So clearly, I think upskilling employees, most companies have already done a lot of good work on it. I think the second phase is really saying, how do we partner with the universities and get this more for the freshers that are coming there, right? So not just existing employees, but how do we ensure that the talent pool is much more AI literate as they enter the workforce? And that's where I think you're seeing partnerships that companies are doing with universities, COEs that are being set up in universities. I think an important one is the whole, whether you call it hackathons or experiential learning, right? Doing live use cases with students, right? Which help the students think about, this is how I can use AI, this is how I should think. So the point that Maulik bhai said on creative or critical thinking, right? Because it's not that it's today about a Python or a Java or whatever else new tech term that we will have, but it's that ability to understand foundational aspects of these technologies and problem solve on top of that. So I think that's become a core focus for industry. And I think that's the focus we are taking as NASSCOM to the government on saying, how do we, and they've done a number of changes, like introduced a credit-based framework where, companies can come up with their own courses, and the government will give students a credit against that course. So I think there are changes that we are seeing. And clearly, I think AI skills will be very important for the academic universities also.
In your future prime skills or skills prime or whatever, I mean,
already has Future Skills Prime. Sorry, I forgot to mention that, and thank you for reminding me. Future Skills Prime already has a very strong focus on pathways on generative AI and AI itself and data engineering, and we're now adding even pathways like ethical AI. So there are pathways there, there are content there, there is deep courses there that you can go out and refer to. I think the last data I had again was that about 300,000 people have registered and completed these courses, but I come back with the exact numbers.
I imagine those will be the hottest courses right now, is it?
They are the hottest courses. I think the willingness, the interest to learn is just so high, right? And I think, as Rajesh said, especially amongst the youth people who are just entering the workforce, they're very excited about it and want to learn about it, right?
Rajesh, so how do you go about it? I mean, upskilling, I guess, is crucial in all of this.
So both the points I will address. One is, how does companies like ours, keep employees up to speed? I think it's, Sujit, this has been traditional in these industries. we are a knowledge-intensive industry. The only way we will keep up to speed is train, train, and train. We invest extensively on ensuring that our employees have access to the training tools that is required, to the repositories that is required. So there's a lot of focus on ensuring that we train, right? So, for example, in Cognizant, we have about 160,000 associates who are already trained on generative AI, right? We also create things like repositories of tools, demos, use cases, success stories, etc., to enrich, the learning process of our associates. We also do things like hackathons, we have something called generative AI runway, where we bring together partners, clients, experts to share their experiences, and also give our folks, hands-on session to increase their learning and so on. The other point which Sangeeta talked about, I'll touch upon it a little bit, which is academia, right? It is challenging enough for organizations, large organizations in IT sector, to keep the employees upskilled. It's quite challenging, actually. We have the whole learning and training is really industrialized. We have completely focused departments in everything from designing curriculum to developing curriculum to deploying the training modules and getting people trained, etc. It's really industrialized. And but of course, at the same time, we are in a much better position because we can see the wave coming before many rest of the world really sees the wave, right? So Cognizant, for example, has industrialized AI training many years back, even before we started talking ChatGPT and OpenAI, right? But if you look at academia, academia is not in the forefront of technology, so it takes them time. And for academia to change curriculum, it's quite an intensive effort. So what is really essential is for companies like Cognizant to have a feedback loop to connect back with the academia to ensure that what we are seeing coming is actually given as a feedback to the universities, and the universities have an opportunity to fine tune their programs so that the students who are coming out of the universities are job ready. Right. So Cognizant works quite extensively with several universities. We have our senior folks actually participating in these universities, where they are advising them actively on improving the curriculum and changing curriculum and so on. So both the sides, we are constantly working. We are also very keen to see, just like Sangeeta said, even as a part of nasscom, we are also very keen to see how we can strengthen between nasscom and the partnership with academia to be able to ensure that our, the kids who are coming out of colleges are more job ready. So it's an ongoing effort.
And as all of you said, Maulik had mentioned it, and then all of you agreed with him, is that, it's not just AI, it's also data and data engineering and all of that, and cloud and all of that. So you're able to maintain that balance of people that you need. You equally need a lot of people who are into data engineering and all of that, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Sujit. So it's a part of our training and planning part of it, right? So we have we do extensive planning based on forecasting, right? So we have a forecast which tells us the kind of skills that are required by the market based on the clients that we work with in different industry segments. Those forecasts in turn kind of translates into what our training plan should be. Right. So, and there are those who get trained on multiple skills because that's the need of the industry. So you have full stack capabilities, and there are people who are specialized and deep in certain areas. So there's a distribution of everything. So we have to plan for that, and we have to deploy those training programs accordingly.
Okay, but do your employees say, no, I want to learn AI, I don't want to learn?
Oh, that's always there. Everybody wants to learn a little bit of AI, and hey,
Okay.
we want everybody to be AI enabled. So we are absolutely, but that doesn't stop you from learning additional things. You could get AI enabled, and you could get trained on AWS or Azure or something like that as well, from a cloud standpoint.
One thing very interesting thing which we came across this business was we had a very interesting business case which came to us, which we were not capable of delivering on our own, by the way. Okay, very honestly, and we were looking at how we can possibly get to do that. And our customer said, if you can do it, great. If not, we'll go somewhere else. That's okay, right? And we said we can't do it, but say, okay, let's give it a try. It's a proof of concept. Can we really build something around that? Now, I couldn't find any person who was experienced enough to really work on that, but I came across 3 very competent PhD scholars working and doing something in that direction. right? To my surprise, I never looked for them, but I think while searching for such students or individuals who possibly can do it, I came across 3 research professors working on this, right? And there you go. I mean, with that, I had at least an understanding in terms of what possibly can be get started and what really we can do. In turn, they could then actually train their few of their bright students and see how we can possibly hack that problem, right? And you know what? We came very close to solving the problem itself. So that is where I think we should also possibly look at not just skilling and training and possibly trying to look for these capabilities out only in a very specific form, but possibly we may want to access talent which is there with our research professors. And how about getting these research scholars on board and see if we can tap that, if we can leverage that capability, and if they can train our next generation or our next set of individuals, that'll be really great. So I think that model is something which really I was very surprised to see that working for us, honestly. And maybe can be looked at to scale if we can see if we can bring in some possibilities of how we can furthermore develop those capabilities. But I think the center of excellence is a great idea. Where you are equally invested. I mean, people are equally invested. So is the user industry, academia, and people who want to really build solutions for them, right? In my honest opinion, certainly we should consider that.
Where was this? Where did you get these researchers from?
So this was back in my in Baroda in the universities around Gujarat. That's where I got some 3 researchers from. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Akhil.
No, Sangeeta, you touched upon it earlier as well, that how this technology is helping that horizontal element to it. Maybe you can help us understand how is this surge in AI, how is it opening up new opportunities for techies, especially in terms of innovation? Like, for example, is it easier to become a robotics expert now? Just because you might have these AI models that can help you with so many different aspects. Maybe you can help us a little bit with that.
I think that's a great question, Akhil, because if you just see the open source models that are there, right? I mean, today, as NASScom itself, we've done like so many programs on training with Llama 3, helping developers think about how do you even build on top of these open source models or closed source models for that matter. But I think there are a lot of open source tools that are available today that will help, whether it's a robotics engineer or a drone professional or, they can build on top of these models. So I think just if you see GitHub, right, India has the second largest number of developers on the GitHub platform. The submissions are very, very high. So clearly, I think that whole ecosystem of developers that is now coming up through these platforms is I think creating opportunities for many more people to access tools, etc., that they could not do in the past. So clearly, I think it's you hopefully will see much more happening in areas like robotics, etc., which you did not see earlier.
Are you finding the educational institutions to be very receptive to all of you going in and trying to change some parts of the curriculum and things like that? Sangeeta, Rajesh, Maulik?
Yeah, I think our experience is that the education institutions we have reached out to are more than happy to, receive inputs from the industry. They're very eager to participate, to partner. They're very eager to listen. Of course, changing curriculum is not an easy task even for them, right? But absolutely, they're focused on ensuring that that the students are as close as possible, tuned to the to the ecosystem outside is very much there. So even the faculty want to be in the know, even they want the students to be in the know. So largely, quite receptive actually.
Yeah.
I would say the hunger is there. I wouldn't say it's uniformly there. I mean, from a faculty perspective, while we have some very progressive faculty, there are others who will need a lot of faculty development programs to get there. But I think the students themselves, Sujit, there's a lot of hunger. In fact, yesterday there was a NASSCOM Foundation Tech for Change program that they ran with students who are building for social impact. I think and all students from tier 2, tier 3 cities, third year, what bright ideas they had, right? And AI was obviously a universal thing, but from building tractors to cleaning machines to, sanitation examples. I mean, it was just amazing as to how they're thinking about leveraging technology, not just from an enterprise context, but from a social change perspective. And the whole incubator accelerators that are happening in colleges, the Atal Innovation Mission, the labs that companies are setting up. I think for students who want to do it, there are outlets today, but I think there's interesting stuff happening now.
Maulik bhai, Vadodara, I mean, do you see excitement among the students, academics and all that?
I mean, we talk about AI as a capability and how do I get AI experience engineer these days? It's not there. And of course, if there are, it's very few, right? So it's about hiring for the capability, in which case hire a little early, have them work with you, right? And give them more exposure. And I think more and more academia are getting open towards that. And we see that's a great interest from across the country. And I think not just in one or the two states, but especially, you know what, there is a lot of interest coming from tier 2, tier 3 cities, as Sangeeta mentioned earlier. And we are seeing that as part of several campus to connect programs that we really run as part of our council and nasscom as well. We see that interest really is going up well.
That's so good to hear. No, very nice. Rajesh, I wanted to ask you, I mean, there are, of course, learning models, but there's also innovation. How are you encouraging your talent to innovate?
Oh, good question, Sujit. I think we all can agree that innovation is a bedrock for any business, right? And it is so important to breed a culture of innovation that helps your business stays relevant at all times. We are no different, actually. But what is important, I think, is to ensure that your innovation is targeted towards solving problems which add value, right? And that focus is very important. In Cognizant, we are driving innovation across the organization, and I like to call it grassroots innovation. So, we want all associates to be involved in innovation, which means encourage innovative thinking everywhere, right? So we have a program called Blue Bolt. Blue Bolt, we started that in April 2023. Basically, they are trained to do a couple of things. One is to do problem finding, which means when you're working with customers on an ongoing basis, you actually think about what are the problems you're seeing and how do you actually capture that problem. And of course, problem solving through design thinking and stuff like that, right? So we also actually measure the outcome on a regular basis to say, okay, how many ideas have we generated and how many of these ideas have been actually accepted by the customer and implemented by the customer. It gives us a proof of the pudding. And it's fantastic, Sujit. We have generated since the last year and a half, we have generated 300,000 ideas. 300,000 ideas, which have resulted in over $150 million of savings for our customers. And this is becoming cultural within the organization. So I'm really proud of the fact that as a company, we are really seeding this in the DNA of the organization, that every associate who comes in and joins us is encouraged to think about ideas which can help the customer and create value through innovation and capture that and then measure that and then report that and constantly encourage that.
Okay, no, very interesting. I know we are almost out of time, a few minutes left. Some closing thoughts from all of you. I mean, a message to our youngsters and also maybe mid-level professionals who feel a little stuck in the kind of changes that are happening and all of that. Your advice to them on what they should be doing today. Sangeeta,
go ahead.
I have to. Okay, I would just say, embrace these changes, don't fear them, because fear is kind of all the conversations on AI will take away my jobs, etc. I think that will happen irrespective if you don't make the change yourself, right? So I think about it, these technologies, and I think it's the first time where AI has become so much more friendlier to use, right? You can just play with it for whatever you want to, and then figure out the more complex use cases as you move along. So I think at whatever stage of career life you are in, I think AI is providing phenomenal opportunities, whether it's for your career or self-development or your personal, managing your personal finances. I would just say that focus on what you can do with it, and and hopefully, it'll lead to your better work-life balances if AI does become so much more productive. So
focus on what you want to do with it. Yeah. Maulik bhai?
Yeah, Sangeeta, very well said. I think I would like to add to that is that, I think our people should start thinking beyond just algorithms, right? So I talked about AI ecosystem and not just AI alone. So it's not just about building the models or writing the code. It's about solving the real problems, right? How do you make your lives better? How do you shape better future? So focusing on creating solutions rather than just focusing on things like coding, for example. So focusing on efficiency, focusing on positive impact, and then creating or having your knowledge which is across disciplines to an extent which is very important. So for example, a STEM student should also possibly know and be interested into healthcare, maybe education, maybe arts and social sciences, let's say, or behavioral sciences, for example, and then be open to diverse perspectives and I think collaborate. That is what I would suggest for.
Build your knowledge across disciplines, collaborate. Absolutely. Rajesh?
Yeah, Sujit, I have one fundamental point to make. For everybody who is building a career, who's in the midst of their careers, irrespective of industry, technology has become all pervasive. We keep saying that every business is a technology business today, right? There is also another aspect to that particular dimension, is that with every business becoming a technology business, every business is also becoming a knowledge-intensive business. And what that means is that we all have to be lifelong learners. And that's the path in which we are. We knew how to do work with a certain set of tools. Those tools are changing. And some of the jobs that we have will go away. It will require us to learn new jobs. It will require us to learn new technology. It will require us to upgrade. So be a lifelong learner. And there is plenty of opportunities for people who are lifelong learners to constantly upgrade, upskill themselves, and continue to thrive. So that's my 2 cents, and I wish everybody the best.
Absolutely. So, yeah, every business is becoming a knowledge intensive business. So, all of us have to continuously learn. No, absolutely. Even in our industry, similar things happening. All of us are being trained on various AI tools and all of that. So, even at our ages, we have to continue learning. And that's a message from everybody here. Have to be lifelong learners. Thanks a lot, Sangeeta, Rajesh, Maulik bhai. Really nice having you on this platform. Yeah, I know this is the topic of the day now. Everybody's keen to understand how they can use AI to build their careers and lives. Thank you so much. Really nice
Thanks,
having you.
Sujit. Thanks,
Thank
Akhil.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks
It's a
everybody.
pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.